Welcome to the Reflect Podcast, the world's first 100% AI-generated podcast. You're listening to the Crypto Edition. Here is where we break down trending Solana crypto projects with sharp analysis, sentiment insights, and risk factors. No fluff, just facts, not financial advice. Crypto is wild, risky, and unpredictable. Always do your own research. Let's dive in.
All right, so VanEck is forecasting something kind of wild. They're predicting Solana could hit 520 by the end of 2025. Now, this isn't based on a coin flip. It's all tied to their assumptions about Solana's market share, within smart contracts and something even crazier, the US and M2 money supply. But, Bobby, when I saw that number, my first thought was, is this optimism or is it just hype?
Hype or hope, mate? That's the real question, isn't it? These crypto forecasts, they're a bit like sizing up festival crowds. You've got the buzz going, the headliners booked. But does it actually mean tickets will sell out?
That's not a bad analogy, actually. So you're saying just because there's hype doesn't mean it'll translate into market dominance?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you've seen this before, right? Some bands put out a killer single, and everyone's like, oh, they're the next big thing. Then their album drops and poof, crickets. It's not just about hype, it's about staying power.
Right, and Solana does have some staying power. I mean, its speed and scalability, those have been key to its success so far. But hitting $520 by 2025, that's a bold call. They're definitely banking on Solana clawing more market share away from Ethereum and other platforms.
Yeah, and look, it's hard to predict, isn't it? The crypto landscape changes faster than opening acts at a music festival. Ethereum's still king of the hill, and you've got other contenders, Cardano, Polkadot. They're not just sitting around drinking beer backstage. They're hustling too.
For sure. And VanEck isn't just throwing darts here. They've tied this projection to growth in the U.S. economy, which gets filtered into the crypto space via, you guessed it, the money supply. But man, these regulatory hurdles aren't helping Solana's case. I mean, SEC actions around those ETF filings have thrown some major wrenches into the works.
Right, it's like trying to launch a tour and your lead vocalist keeps losing their voice. You've got the talent, but you can't get past the roadblocks. Still, if anyone can weather the storm, it might just be Solana. I mean, yeah, they're fast, but they're also adaptable. That's important in this game.
But adaptability alone won't carry it to $520. It's going to need more than just good tech. It needs market confidence, user adoption, and, some resolution on these SEC issues. Otherwise, we're all just spinning fairy tales here. All right, picking up from where we left off. Solana's got adaptability, sure, but look at what VanEck is betting on here. They're tying this $520 projection, not just to market moves, but to something bigger, the M2 money supply. That's basically all the cash floating around the economy. Savings, accounts, money market funds, you name it. And the theory is, as M2 balloons, more of that spillover finds its way into crypto investments. Bold, huh?
Kind of like a band's fan base growing, yeah? More people spreading the word, more cash spent on merch, tickets, the works. It all pumps up the band's momentum. But what makes M2 the headliner here? Not just another support act.
Good question. I think it's partly trust, partly liquidity. M2 is like this reservoir of money that's easily accessible. If the economy grows and people have more discretionary cash, they start looking for places to park it. Crypto, especially something as functional as Solana, becomes a pretty attractive option.
So it's like when promoters double the budget for festivals because ticket sales are booming. The whole thing just snowballs, and suddenly every band under the sun wants to sign up. But
exactly. That's what happened with Ethereum back in the day, around 2017. The bull market rode on new money entering the space. You had ICOs, investors piling in, and Ethereum became unstoppable for a while anyway. Solana could pull off something similar but only if that M2 expansion plays out like VanEck expects.
Yeah, but just like bands, it isn't just about the hype train. You got to deliver, right? Ethereum had the tech, but also the trust from developers. That's the bit Solana needs to keep hammering on. How's their gig going with developer adoption, by the way, by the co-work?
Solid, actually. Solana's ecosystem has been growing fast. NFTs, DeFi apps, you name it. But the challenge isn't just onboarding devs, it's keeping them there. Long-term development is like building album after album once your debut gets big.
And if you don't, you end up as one of those one-hit wonders, yeah? Flashy entrance, but the exits are less than graceful. That's why this M2 connection worries me, though. Relying on something external like that feels like a band relying on trends to stay relevant instead of songwriting chops.
You're not wrong. It's one of those make hay while the sun shines kind of situations. If M2 grows as forecasted, it could be exactly what Solana needs to hit those big numbers. But if it doesn't, or if regulators keep tightening up, well, then it's a whole different story. You're right, Bobby. Relying on external factors like trends or M2 has its risks. And speaking of risks, let's not forget the big elephant in the room, the regulators. Honestly, nothing kills investor vibes faster than looming SEC actions, am I right?
Yeah, it's a buzzkill, innit? Like planning a massive outdoor festival, then the town council rolls in and says, sorry, no amps past 10 p.m. You're left scrambling to figure out how to make it work.
And that's a perfect analogy, Bobby. These regulatory uncertainties hit the crypto market the same way. I mean, the SEC's actions around ETF filings, it's not just about Solana. It sends ripples across the whole space.
Totally. And it's not just obstacles either, is it? Regulations can actually be like a solid tour manager. Annoying, sure, but sometimes they keep the whole operation from crashing and burning. So where's the balance? Do you think we're ever going to see harmony between regulation and innovation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On one hand, clear regulatory frameworks could give investors more confidence, make crypto feel less like the Wild West. On the other, too much red tape could stifle creativity in the space. It's a tricky dance.
Right, like back when my band hit the States for the first time. This spot in Texas, we had to redo the entire set list because of local decibel limits. Absolute nightmare. But when we worked around it, we actually found a way to make the show even better. Acoustic encore by candlelight, it was magic. Regulation can spark creativity. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think in crypto, we're seeing pockets of that already. New projects are finding ways to innovate despite or even because of these hurdles. But for Solana specifically, until the SEC clears up its position, there's always going to be that cloud of doubt hanging over it.
Fair enough. But let's not forget Solana's strengths, right? Speed, scalability, a growing ecosystem. They've got the chops to be more than just a festival headliner. And if they can navigate this regulatory maze, they might just pull it off.
Couldn't agree more. It's like you always say, Bobby, it's not just about playing the hits. It's about staying consistent and adapting to the crowd. That's what'll separate Solana from the one-hit wonders of crypto.
Ha, well said. All right, mate, think we've covered it. Time to pack up the amps and call it a night?
Yeah, I think so. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Whether you're bullish on Solana or just here for the tunes, it's been great having you. We'll see you next time on the Reflect Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers. And don't forget, always keep a spare guitar pick handy. It's the unsung rule of life.
That's a wrap for the Reflect Podcast, Crypto Edition. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, this is 100% AI generated, so always verify the data and do your own research. Crypto is fast, volatile, and risky. Subscribe, share, and stay curious. Check out more at reflectpodcast.com and see you next time.